So the next task that I'd like you to undertake is to think about what are the current issues, the threats and opportunities which might affect your businesses. And again, I'll come round and answer any individual questions. Right, so we've done our SMART objectives. You've then thought about the current issues, the threats and opportunities that might affect your business. Now we need to look at how can you get more customers. Well, first of all, you need to understand your existing customers. Who are your customers? What do they buy? How do they buy? And when do they buy? You can divide your customers or clients into groups by service, product, location, volume, revenue. The next example focuses on revenue. So, who are your top customers? Well, these are what we call in marketing the cash cows. Who are the regular customers and have the potential to buy more? Those are what we call the rising stars. Who are the customers who make a spot purchase but don't know why? These are the question marks. And finally, I'm sure you've all come across, like us all, the dead dogs. These are the customers that buy on an irregular basis but want that extra bit of service or reduced volume for no extra cost. So the next task that I'd like you to undertake is to look at identify which customers are the most important and how you can satisfy their needs. In the handout, Marketing Planning Toolkit for Small Businesses, you will find on Annex 1 the customer matrix. And so what you've got here is the categories that I've just defined, the cash cows, the customers, cash cows, the rising star, the question mark, and the dead dogs. And then what I want you to do is I need you to think about, as I said, which are the most important and how you think you can satisfy their needs. So in the action column, think about how you can satisfy their needs. If we can spend about 10 minutes on this, and again, I'll come round and I'll answer any questions. So let's look at building customer relationships. How can you do this? You can do it through the order processes. Regular communication. I can't stress how much communication is so important. After-sales service, sales service, and through the complaint handling. Everybody will tell you if they've dealt with some of the utilities, if they've had a bad experience, or you've been to a restaurant that you've been unhappy with. My husband used to work for a high street company, and whenever we went to parties, people would come up to him and say, "Oh no, I bought that TV from so-and-so," and start launching into a big complaint with him. So you must understand that a complaint, it's how you handle it. If you handle it efficiently and effectively, it can actually win you lots of brownie points. But how do you make your products and services work for you? Well, you can look at quality, the prices that you charge, the service that you offer, delivery, quantity, and what benefits. Think about what benefits does your product or service offer. Now let's look at how to beat your competitors. Do you know who is your main competitor? Or competitors as well? What do they do that is different from you? Do you share customers, or are they different? If so, why? Is your product or service affected by changes in the political or general environment? I think most organisations at the moment is yes to that last one. The next task I'd like you to undertake is what we call a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, and it's a very useful framework. So we need to look at your strengths and weaknesses and help you to identify your opportunities and threats. So examples could be reputation. You could have an excellent reputation as one of your strengths. good prices. Weaknesses could be a poor database. Opportunities could be your opening hours. You could look at extending your opening hours. And your threats, well, they could be active competitors. It's a good idea to actually do this one lunchtime and get as many people together from the organisation. Get some sandwiches and just have a bit of a fun time going through and putting together the SWOT analysis. And then after that task, it's your job to actually put together a summary of what you think the key opportunities and actions are. As I mentioned before, this session is very much a whistle-stop tour of how to write a marketing plan. And many of you will have heard of what we call a marketing mix. It used to consist of 4 Ps, but now it's very much extended to 8. So what are the 8 Ps? Product. Give the customers what they want. Price. Think about what the customers are prepared to pay. Place or distribution. The right place, time and quantity. When the internet first came in its infancy, when lots of people started to use it, I can recall that Sainsbury's started to sell wine on the internet. And it was great. You placed your order, and it was a good order process that you went through. And then suddenly, after you've paid your money, a pop-up box came up saying, delivery will be within 28 days. It just didn't feel right. I mean, here you go, you've paid for your wine, you want it now. Of course, it doesn't happen like that today. But they were competing with the wine clubs that advertised in, for example, the Sunday Times. And yet their offer then was no different. Promotion. Selling the benefits. People. People are incredibly important. Look at the staff training and the after sales. Process. Customer service and communication. Constant communication. And now physical evidence. Testimonials are very important. If you can get people to write something on your website or in your leaflet saying how fantastic they think your product, service or company is, that's wonderful. And getting back to the example I mentioned earlier about Sainsbury's, it's about your positioning again. It's about very much being in the right product, having the right people, the right price, the right place at the right time. Promotional activity. You'll probably be familiar with all of these. PR, press, advertising, packaging and display, direct marketing, personal selling, internet, for example, websites, and most importantly, word of mouth and recommendation, which counts for so much. The next task I'd like you to undertake, which is also on the back of the handout, Marketing Planning Toolkit for Small Businesses, is a marketing action plan. And what I want you to do, I want you to write down your one-year action plan. You won't be able to do this all now, but it's something I want you to start it and take it away and start thinking about it. So, again, we've got, in one column here, we've got the customers, the products or services, the competitors, the promotional activity, and communication. And then the next column, to go against each of those categories, I want you to write your SMART objectives. And then the action, the responsibility, who's going to do it, what sort of cost you estimate, and the timeline. I'll be coming around again to ask any questions, and as I said, this isn't something that you will be able to undertake completely in this session, but I do want you to start it and to be able to take it away and start thinking about it. One of the things I mentioned earlier was that, to remind you, that when you're undertaking this marketing plan, to try and break it down into